Hi, I'm Richard from Glowing Embers, and today we're going to be speaking to Martin, my good friend, who is an avid wood womble, I would say, collector of wood, and he basically sources it, cuts it, splits it, seasons it, knows how to do all of that stuff. So this is going to be sort of an in-depth guide into all of that.
Okay, so thanks Richard. First thing I want to talk to you about is sharp axes. If you're going to try and do this splitting idea with a blunt tool, you're first of all going to hurt yourself. You're going to use a load of your energy and you're not actually going to split the logs very well. I have already sharpened these, but get yourself a sharpening tool, learn how to use it. It's a stone, use these wet or with oil. I find them best with oil, and this particular one you actually soak in water to use. You would be amazed at how much water these actually soak up. And what you're trying to do is get yourself a sharp edge just on here, and that is the edge that you're working with. If you just see on here, that shiny edge there, you don't need to worry about polishing any of this edge here, but you want to get that edge there to be good. The other thing is there's two types of axes. You want to be looking for the axe that has that edge on there. This is a splitting axe and this is a kindling axe. These both split wood, but the other type of axe is one that you'd actually use for felling a tree. They're long and thin, and that's the sort of axe that you see guys cutting trees down with. If you try and use that type of axe for splitting, you're just never going to get through it. It's just the wrong type of instrument. So if you've got yourself sharp tools, you need to think about safety equipment. Trust me, you're swinging something this heavy around, you really don't want it to be going into your leg or chopping your toes off. It's not a pleasant experience. So you want to get yourself a set of boots, and these are chainsaw boots specifically, and never ever run a chainsaw without wearing a set of these. If you're cutting a tree down, you want to get yourself a set of chainsaw trousers as well, and they clog up the chain in seconds and not cut your leg off. And chainsaws are obscenely dangerous, and that is a completely different level of technique that I would strongly advise using with extreme caution. So I'm going to put these boots on, and then we're going to talk about what we're going to split on. So you got yourself sharp tools, you're going to get rid of your safety crocs, and you're going to get yourself a nice set of boots. These, I promise, are going to help you live and maintain your normal life. It might seem silly, it might be something you've not thought about, but if you try and split on a non-hard surface, like decking or a soft ground, all you're going to do is you're going to lose all your momentum as you come down. It's going to go through the ground, and it's not actually going to go through the log, and it's not going to split the log. So this here is very, very thick, and I'm not putting this on. I'm trying to move that, and I can't. It's a big piece of oak that is really too big for my tools, but it's perfect for a splitting base. Also, if you think about where I'm going to be coming down here, it's perfect. My strength is going to be straight through it, and it's going to be good. If I was doing this same thing on the floor, like here, I'm bending my back, I'm having to move my tool higher up, I'm increasing the chances of cutting my leg off. It's just not right. So you do need a nice thick base to be splitting on, which is just as important as your boots, really. I'm going to show you how to make lovely split logs like this, which this bit's a nice bit of kindling, and that bit is a lovely piece of burning material that's going to keep your house nice and warm. Basically, the smaller you cut this log, the better it's going to burn, and the drier it's going to burn. We'll talk about that in a minute. The drier your wood is, the hotter it's going to burn. You might think, oh, I'll just put a huge bit in that's a little bit wet and damp. Actually, all you're going to do is you're going to block up your flue. You're not going to get very much heat out of it, and you're going to question whether you bought the right log burner. A lot of people make the mistake of blaming the people that sold their log burner to you, that they've got the wrong one. when actually you're just putting the wrong material in it. Small, dry, very hot, and also more eco-friendly for the environment, and you're not going to be blocking your flue up, and you're not going to be sending it all black inside your stove. So if it's dry, it's going to burn well. If it's dry, it's going to be hotter. If it's dry, it's not going to damage the environment any more than it needs to. And if it's dry, it's going to not send the whole thing black. So small logs like this is absolutely perfect. And I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, so quite straightforward really. You're just going to hit it as hard as you possibly can. But if you hit it in the middle, you're lessening the chances of you actually cutting it in the first split. You want to be going to the outer edge. If you hit it on the outer edge, if you think about it, it's much easier to go on the outer edge for it to actually stop splitting. Again, the quicker it works, the less effort you have to put into doing it. So fairly straightforward on the edge, and it's cut straight through it. That's now at that sort of size. That you could put that in depending on the size of your stove, but you may as well cut that in half again. Very easy. I could almost do this with one hand, but I'd advise you 2 hands, and it's done. So like that again. Just put it through. I'd go through that again as well. Probably again. Nice bits of kindling. It's lovely. And trust me, you might think I'm just saying this, but this is my therapy, big time. I absolutely love nothing more than just smashing the living daylights out of a piece of tree. I just think it's great. It's a brilliant way of passing time. It keeps me fit. I couldn't possibly go to the gym and look myself in the mirror, but this is a brilliant way of letting out your anger if you feel that way, and also keeping your house warm and just having a bit of fun really. So that's that lot without on the edit. Lovely. I'll do another one. That one I went in the middle, if you noticed, but it's already got lots of cracks through it. So you might think, why did he go in the middle of that one? And why was I successful? I went in the middle because it had lots of cracks already in it, which nature has done half its job for you. So that one I'm going to put into 4 like that, and really there's no effort at all with it. Now if you look at this one, you might think, well, I know even if I gave everything I possibly can into this, I'm never going to get through it. Why is that? You've got what is called another branch coming out here. Now if you think the way this tree has grown, it's grown up like that, and it's had a branch coming outside. Now here is very, very strong, and you're going to waste a lot of time trying to get through that. So with this particular tree, I've already put a split there, look, where I'm going to cut it. That would be a best way to do that. Chainsaw through there. This bit will then cut really well. This bit here has been weakened, and there's a higher chance you're going to get through that. But a lot of the time, you might find you waste a tremendous amount of time on a bit that's got a big knot in it like that. In which case, put it to one side and enjoy splitting the bits that don't have it. I'll cut that up in a minute, and I'll demonstrate how much harder that bit's going to be to cut, but we'll do that with the chainsaw. This is a slightly bigger bit that I've left cut. So you might find the bigger bit, again with no outer edges on it, no limbs that come outside. You might find this one's a bit harder to cut, but let's just see. Again, if you see I've got a slice there, I'm going to try and go for that because it's a weaker part of the tree. So let's see how we get on. Easier than I thought. I wish every bit of tree was that easy to cut. Absolutely lovely. Now this one is a much smaller piece. Now you may as well not try and do that into 4 because you'd be wasting your time really. I'll just do that straight into 2. But this one again, I've got some cuts there that nature's already given us. Nothing on this side where I've already sliced it. That is an easy one. Again, very small effort. Cut it. Let's see the way I cut it there. Let's cut a piece of kindling off. So that's going to go into 3. Ready? Lovely. So Another thing you want to think about is where you put your tools. If you just chuck them on the floor, what you're going to find is you're going to blunt that edge. You want to keep it away from mud as much as possible. So I could just throw this on the floor and be done with it, but the best way really to do with it is to just launch it in the side like that, into the side of your tool, because it's safe there, you can't trip up it, you know where it is, and it's not becoming blunt by putting it on the floor. Similarly with your chainsaw, if you try and cut with your chainsaw on the floor, mud, within a second you're using your chainsaw, zip into mud, blunt your saw, and you think this is a really hard work. Again, this particular tree that I've got, this is where it come down. I'm using this as a splitting log because it's got this edge here which stops it from falling this way. So it's more complicated than you would think of this tree stuff, but when I'm starting to cut through here, it's this tree, this bit of log is going to want to come towards me, yeah? But with this edge here, as I go through here, this is going to work in my favour. So I'm going to quickly slice that, and goodness gracious me, these things make a lot of noise. So put your ear defenders on, otherwise you'll get tinnitus. Always use, take these off so I haven't got to shout at you. When you're not using your saw, always put the blade cover on. It's so sharp, and you've got to put it on the floor. You're not going to pick up mud with it. So we've cut that off, and we've now got that edge. Now, you've got to have a pretty big log burner, like I would say 10, 12 kilowatt, to put that all on and actually burn efficiently. So most log burners, you're going to have to split that up. But so I'm going to try it with the same method. I've got those edges on it. I'm going to do the best I can. See. The first time it didn't go. Second one it has. And this has not been a good example of because it's done it quite nicely. That was hot as easy than I said it was going to be.
Because it went around. You went around.
Yeah.
Split around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have got through that even with a 20-ton. So when you really want to have a lot of fun, you want to get yourself an old tractor, and trust me, you need an old tractor. And then when you get an old tractor, you need a bigger implement, and then you get that implement and you get that implement. It's a brilliant way of spending your money, and you're not in the pub and you're keeping fit. And trust me, this thing is so good. Come and have a look. So what we do with this beautiful machine is 20 tons of pressure. Now, I could probably offer about, I don't know, half a ton maybe with my axe, maybe more. I don't know the exact answer, but this will give us 20 tons. Again, sharp is good, and be aware when you are using one of these, it does want to fire wood out. The less limby wood you have, the less likely it's going to fire it out. But this is fabulous. But the only issue with this one is that you then need to split it up or saw it up afterwards. So then you need to get yourself a sawmill, which again is marvellous. But this is a very efficient way of splitting big logs. If we were using it with just the axe, I would have to cut that into 3 with a saw, and then start splitting it up with the axe. So let's take a look at what 20 tons of splitting pressure looks like. And I'm going to be having a lot of fun while I'm doing it. The other thing as well, run your tractor at full throttle. It's there to be ran at full throttle. Just keep an eye on your temperatures, but just flat out. What is it Colin McRae used to say? If in doubt, flat out. It's worth noting, you might see this is the bit that is got the limb that comes out. So you see that I'm struggling to bring this apart. I actually can't do it. I'm not putting it on, I can't do it. The reason for that is the limbs coming at the back. Now if I'd have put this log the other way round, it would have struggled at the beginning. But at this point, I put it upside down, which means it's mostly split. So I need to put a bit more pressure for it to go through it. If this doesn't go all the way to the bottom, what I'm going to do is put another piece of log up, raise it up, and then try again. It could be that we need to just lever it apart with a big bar or hit it with a hammer, but let's see. Right, the sawmill, because we've just come off the tractor, obviously for most log burners this is going to be too big, yeah? This is about 40 centimetres, so majority of your log burners you're going to need to cut that in half. If you've got an opening stove that easily goes in, then great, don't cut this in half, but for the majority of you, like myself, my one's not particularly big, I'm going to need to cut that in half. Again, the smaller you make it, the hotter it's going to be. The smaller you make it, the better it's going to season. It's going to be better. So again, this is an obscenely dangerous machine. It literally just wants to cut your hand off the second you look at it. This one is really important. If in the unlikely event that something happened that you were pushed like that, this is actually going to offer some sort of protection. So if you're operating one of these that hasn't got this top guard on, just don't touch it. Ear protection for your ears, and gloves. And also, the worst thing that people can do with this is offer it up like that with your hands underneath. Because what it does, it comes in and does this. You must have your hands here and be working on this base low down. It wants to, because it comes towards you, it wants to grab it and snap it down. So you want to avoid that. So your hands are well apart from the machinery. If there's people around you, you don't want to be talking to them or having a second conversation. You want to just be concentrating on what you're doing, just basic moves really. So check this out. So, stacking. This method I think is the most attractive thing to look at, and it is a brilliant way of drying your logs. A reminder, you need to be under about 20% of humidity. You need to be getting a moisture tester and learning how to use one of them. I haven't got one of them to hand. But if you might see this stack here and think, okay, it's outside, surely it's got to be under cover. To dry it. Completely wrong. Actually, outside is the best way of drying your logs. And the reason why I like this method so much, if you've got two pieces of logs that you just semi split and you stack them together like that, okay, obviously they're going to dry, but if you stack them like this, they're actually drying like that, which is, to exaggerate it, that's the angle that it's at. So more air is being able to circulate around this stack. Also, sky is the limit for how high you want to go with it. So I can use less of your garden and stack up really high, and it dry brilliantly. If you see the way that it's actually, I put this roof on it, there's no cover on it at all. Got a little bit of shelter from the tree, but not a lot. Also, you want to try and get it in the most sunniest spot you can, and wind if possible. Wind and sun is what's drying it. A bit of rain on it, even though we're in a wet climate in England, it actually doesn't really slow it down a terrific amount. Obviously, it does a little bit, but there is a thought process that rain onto your logs is actually washing away the tree sap. So a little bit of rain is not a bad thing at all. So outside stacks are imperative. If you was to think, no, I don't want to do that, I'm going to put it in my garage, put it in your garage if you want, but all you're going to do is your wood's going to go all mouldy because there's no circulation inside your garage. It's got to be outside. If you want to do some form of cover, then great, do that. If you don't want it to get wet, I understand why you wouldn't want to do that. But outside is imperative, and you don't really need to put a cover on it. If you know it's going to rain for the next week or two, 3 weeks or a month, then get a bit of tarpaulin and put over it. That's an obvious thing. A stack that's just beside us, it's got a cover over the top that I put over it to stop the rain on it. But when it's windy and sunny, or both, then definitely take your cover off because it's going to be trapping in moisture. This is just, I think, absolutely stunning to look at. And personally, I can't actually reach it, and it's sturdy, although this one and this one have just fallen off. But it's a sturdy stack and it looks nice. And you've got to look at this for about 2 years, so it may as well be an attractive thing to look at. I've actually got this one here, and there's another one at the top of the field that I'll show you, and I'll explain why that one's on top of the field. So to actually make this stack, what I've done is it's on pallets. Off the ground is a great idea, and I've just basically stacked them in a circle, and in between there's actually 2 stacks that climbs right up. In the middle, you can put a big pipe in it if you want, and then pull the pipe out, so there's a circle in the middle, or just leave any sort of void or fill it up if you want. But what I've done inside here, which you can't see, is just put odd ball sizes, bits that you can't be bothered to split, or just bits that you think, oh, I'll just chuck it in there. I haven't got to look at it. Bits that are not particularly attractive are in the middle. So you can hide your unpleasant bits inside. But the tube idea, if you've got like a bit of drain pipe, a large bit of drain pipe, you can build it, have that in the middle, build it around, and then before you put this part of it on, which is obviously the roof, you take that drain pipe out, and then you've got a large circle inside, which helps ventilation. But it's very warm inside. It actually circulates air internally in these. They're absolutely, I just think they're the nicest way of stacking it. But I've got 2 more to show you. So this is a different stack from the circular stack that we've just spoke about. This one uses the space really well, because we've got basically wasted space here with a little bit of shelter. Again, it's outside, but this is a brilliant way of actually stacking logs. They are obviously close together. Again, 2 years will probably be fine, but we've got the shelter from this tree here. So again, you may as well stack it nicely, because you've got to look at it for a long time. But I think this is an attractive stack. This stack here is bits that I've not yet cut up. So small lengths like that. And that's just got to go through the sawmill, and then it's ready to go into the fire. I haven't got to split any of this stuff. Obviously bits like that I've got to split up, but these small bits, really, I see so many tree surgeons wasting all this stuff, and they are just the best. They burn so nicely, these little small bits. They're easy to handle, pop them in the fire. They're just great. So I've done this is not particularly attractive to look at, I know, but they're long lengths, and it's a great way of drying it, because I can put them out here, sawmill, straight into the fire. So this stack is again your circular stack, but this is at the top of the field. I mean, absolutely no shelter at all, no cover on it, no nothing. You might think, why is he put at the top of the field? The other stacks we've spoke about is all in the corner of the field with a little bit of shelter, but no wind at all. Now this is all eucalyptus and yew tree. Now eucalyptus is my favourite tree to feed my fireplace with. It is obscenely hard when it's seasoned. So you have to split it when it's green. So what does green mean? When it's green, it's when it's just been cut down. If you try and split eucalyptus when it's green, when it's seasoned, you almost impossible. It's impossible to do. So you've got to do it early, like within the first week or two of actually bringing the tree down. And I've got it up here because this is the windiest part of this small farm that we're on. And wind is going to be a big factor into drying this. Eucalyptus and yew are particularly hard, very hot burners. So I wanted this to be a really dry stack with the sun and the wind. Now you can't see this in the video, but we're actually quite high up here. I'm not sure much the valley you've got back behind us, but it's a windy area, so wind and sun is going to be helping us do that. You know, we could put a cover over this in the winter months, but I probably wouldn't bother. You could if you wanted, but I'm not going to bother. I just think it looks nice. I don't really want to have to be coming up here in the rain and putting a cover on it. But this is a lovely way of drying logs. But if you can get your hands onto some eucalyptus or yew tree, it is particularly nice. And one of the other things I love about eucalyptus is this is a piece of eucalyptus. Now, eucalyptus, when it dries, it will look exactly like this. One thing you'll find with bringing wood into your house is it creates a lot of dust and it's just like a mess. But eucalyptus has almost no dust to it. So, you know, I can try this and there's basically nothing coming off of it. Yeah, there's another piece there, look, and it's just lovely. And you haven't got smell-o-vision, but it smells brilliant. So if anyone fancies giving me their eucalyptus tree, then get in touch and we'll come and bring it down for you. I hope you've enjoyed the video. That's enough for me now. Follow us on Glowing Embers YouTube channel and the social media pages for our next videos.